today we're going to be doing some work on the 1996 Subaru Legacy I picked up a few weeks ago. I picked it up for like 650 bucks just to use for work. And it's got some issues, but nothing too serious. So today, what's going on, it threw a check engine light and the code says it's for the knock sensor. So we're going to go ahead and replace that. It'll be a little like tutorial type video for you guys. This applies, as far as I know, same method to any Subaru engine. I think this has a 2.2 in it. I looked over here. This is the 2.5 out of my WRX. The knock sensor is in the same place for that one. So yeah, I'm just going to run through, give you a little how-to, show you what tools you'll need, and how to go about doing it. Alright, so as far as tools go for this job, I think it's going to be pretty simple. You're going to need 3/8 ratchet, long extension. This is a 12-inch extension. You need a 12 mil socket to get the bolt out for the knock sensor. And you're going to need whatever size socket your negative battery terminal is. My car is kind of pieced together, so it's actually a 1/2 inch. So step one is to just take the negative terminal off of your battery. Alright, then step two is going to be to go ahead and actually pull out the bolt that holds in your knock sensor. I'm going to show you over here on my blown up EJ25 because it's a little easier to see. But if you can picture, the front of the car is this way, back of the car is that way. Bell housing right here for the transmission. Picture the intake runners going over it. And then right about here would be the throttle body. And so if you're looking at the front of the car, immediately to the right of the throttle body and straight down is where the knock sensor is. And you just use your 12 millimeter on that. Crank it loose, and then I'm going to pull it out and then disconnect the electrical harness. Okay, so as I said, a little tough to see, but here's your air intake. The intake runner is going from here to here. Throttle body, and then immediately to the right and straight down you can see the bolt for the knock sensor, and it actually looks like mine is a little cracked and corroded, so that would definitely explain why I'm getting a bad knock sensor reading. So you just take your long extension, thread it through this little mess down onto the bolt. I think that's going to be straight enough, and go ahead and pop it off. Oh, and one quick thing I forgot to mention. Pay attention to how the direction of the plug is oriented. So mine's pointed almost straight to the left. I don't know if there's any validity to this, but everybody says it, so it's probably true. But apparently if you don't put the new one back in the same direction, you can get messed up, faulty readings. So just pay attention to how you take it out so you can put the new one back in the exact same way. Alright, once you have the bolt out that was going through the knock sensor, the next step is going to be to fish down in there and pull the sensor out enough to try to give you enough access up here to unplug it. The plug is just this weird wing style thing, so I think you just squeeze. Oh no, that doesn't seem right. I'm going to try to avoid breaking this plug, so I'm going to put the camera down. Finally got the clip undone after like 5 minutes because whoever decided to change this knock sensor last time thought it would be fun to break the little thumb grip push pin thing that releases the sensor. So I was fishing in there with pliers. So hopefully you don't need these, but they can be helpful if you need them. Anyways, got the two knock sensors here now. The old is on the right, new on the left. You can see how gross and corroded this old one is. Just bear with me here. It's got all this nasty corrosion and stuff, and the housing for it is cracked, versus the new one. Nice, pretty and clean. So we're going to go ahead and stick this one back in the same way that this one came out, and hopefully she starts right up and runs good. Something else that's probably worthwhile to do since you're replacing the sensor is to also clean up that contact point down there. So I just sprayed a little bit of electrical parts cleaner on this paper towel. I'm just going to go ahead and try to wipe it off a little bit if I can reach. Alright, that failed miserably. Never mind. Never mind again. I figured out a way to kind of just wrap the paper towel around the end of this big long extension here. So I'm just going to kind of wriggle it around and hope it cleans it up at least a little bit. And once you've got it all cleaned up down there a little bit, the final few steps I should say, is going to be to just reassemble it the same order that you disassembled it, or reverse order rather. So I'm going to plug in the connector and then get this, the metal part seated on top of the connector in kind of the correct general direction. Thread the bolt through kind of semi-tight, and then get it pointed exactly where it needs to go, and then torque it down to spec, which I have no idea what the spec number is, so I'm just gonna go with kinda tight but not too tight. Alright guys, it is finally in after like a solid 15 minutes of wrestling with it. I don't know if you can tell like just how tight it is down there, but it's in, facing the right way, torqued kinda tight but not too tight. I'm gonna take this as a learning experience for sure. Let me just say, if you ever have the engine out of your car and there's sensors like that down in tight spaces like this one, just do yourself a favor and replace them before you put the new motor back in your car, because this motor was put in like 6,000 miles ago, and there's no way that this level of nastiness and corrosion happened in just 6,000 miles. So the guy either used the old sensor from the old motor, or he was just negligent and failed to see that this one was nasty and corroded, or he just wasn't thinking ahead for the next time that he might have to replace the sensor. So, long story short, you got sensors in tight spaces and you have easy access to the motor, like with that one over there. Go ahead and replace the sensors before you put it back in the car. Alright, sorry about that little rant, but that was pretty frustrating. So I'm just going to go ahead, put the negative terminal back on to the battery, and alrighty. Alright, so moment of truth. Let's go ahead and hop in and see if she starts. Alright, so it's running. Check engine light is gone, but that's just because the battery was disconnected. So hopefully it stays off. Hopefully nothing else pops up after we fix that. But yeah, just thank you for watching. Hope you found this helpful. And like I said, I think this will apply to any EJ Subaru motor. Don't mark my words. But aside from the electrical plug being a little different, I think the process will be pretty much the same. So thanks for watching. Hope you have a good one.